Hey there, sixth graders. We are going to take a look at one of the three types of ratios, which is rates. Now recall, with ratios, we have a part-to-part comparison. We have a part-to-whole comparison. And then our third, so this is our first ratio, our second ratio, and the third type of ratio is rates. And rates are special kinds of ratios that compare two quantities with totally different units, and they have to be totally different. So for instance, for example, $4 for every 2 cans of whatever, green beans. 8 laps for every 24 minutes of running. 48 points for for every 8 players who are playing. Now notice, dollars and cans are two totally different things. You cannot turn cans into dollars, and you can't turn dollars into cans. Those are two totally different things. Laps and minutes, that's a physical distance. This is time. They are totally different from one another. Points and players. People are not points. They never will be. So these are two totally different units, which is why we consider it a rate. Why don't you go ahead and give yourself your own example? I'll give you an additional example. So we've got, let's say, 50 miles for 2 hours of driving. Miles and hours are two totally different things, physical distance and time. When dealing with rates, the fraction bar generally reads as per, although you can also say for every, but more frequently we like to say per. Rates are easiest to understand when they are what we call unit rates. And it's actually a very simple concept. Unit rates, unit means 1, they have a denominator of 1. Because what is a single unit? It is worth 1. So let's talk about unit rates and how we can convert these types of rates into unit rates so that it can make more sense in our brains. So to convert a rate into a unit rate, you are going to first set up your rate in fraction form. Put the units that comes after the word per in the denominator. Order matters. So if I'm saying, 50 miles per 2 hours, the miles goes on top, per is the fraction bar, hours goes on the bottom. And remember, our goal is to convert rates with a denominator of 1 because it is a unit rate. So we want to turn it into a denominator of 1. So you're going to convert your rate into the unit rate by dividing the numerator and the denominator by the denominator. And we'll see some examples to help it make some sense. So for example, Colin can type 20 characters in 10 seconds. How many characters per second can Colin write? So that per is going to be the fraction bar. That's going to go on the top, fraction bar, bottom. So we're going to put our characters on the top, per, fraction bar, seconds on the bottom. So let's take the information we're given. So we have 20 characters per 10 seconds. We want to know how many per 1 single second. So again, our goal is to have this be 1 second. Well, how can I turn 10 seconds into 1 second? I can divide it by 10. I can divide it by itself. So I'm going to divide the denominator by the denominator because 10 divided by 10 is 1. And then what I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So that means it's 2 characters per second. So this Colin is typing 2 characters, which is just 2 buttons for each second that he's typing. Let's take a look at another example where we have to be super careful of the order we're given the information and the question that we're being asked. Jessica can run 4 laps in 16 minutes. Okay, so 4 laps around a track in 16 minutes. It says how many minutes per lap? Minutes per fraction bar lap. So right off the bat, I'm going to put minutes on top, laps on the bottom. Minutes per lap. Now I go back and I'm going to look at my units and I'm going to make sure I fill in the information appropriately. So how many minutes were we dealing with? We were dealing with 16 minutes. And how many laps? 4 laps. A lot of kids, a cow mistake, the most common mistake is students will put the first number they see on top and the second number on the bottom. Do not do that. We need to look carefully at the units, because I am going to try to trick you. I'm going to mix up the order of what I'm asking you and the order that I present the information. So look very carefully. Okay, so we want to turn this into how many minutes per 1 lap. How can I turn 4 laps into 1 lap? I can divide by 4. I'm going to divide by itself. 16 divided by 4 is 4 minutes per lap. And that's your final answer. You have just converted this rate, because again, why is this a rate? Because minutes and laps are 2 totally different things, and we simplified it down to 4 minutes per 1 single lap. I'm going to do a couple of examples on the back side, and then I want you to finish this up on your own. So let's take a look. We're going to write each of these rates as a unit rate. Since I didn't say, hours per week, I want you can go ahead and use the order you were given. So if we have 14 hours in 2 weeks, I want to know how many hours we're working per 1 single week. So I'm going to divide by 2 and I get 7 hours per 1 week. Remember, your denominator must always be 1. 36 pieces of candy for 6 children. We want to know how many pieces per child. So this is 36 pieces over 6 children. We're going to divide the top and bottom by the bottom number, and it turns out we get 6 pieces for each child. That is now a unit rate. I'm going to do one more with you, and then I want you to finish this on your own. 8 teaspoons for 4 cups. Okay, I want to know how many teaspoons per cup. So this is going to be 8 teaspoons over 4 cups. I want to know how many per cup, so I divide by the amount of cups, and I get 2 teaspoons per 1 cup, and that is your unit rate. Go ahead and finish up the back side. Check your answers with mine on the website. Please do not copy them. Do the work on your own, and then check your answers.